This is the four-man rush.
Panthers Twitter is where it's at. That's all I can say.
Man.
Listen, Panthers Twitter chooses violence every day. Like there's never a day off. Never a day off. But it's entertaining
right,
though.
Monty?
Okay.
Nah, y'all not gonna hate me for that, bro. Nah, they toxic without me, bro. They toxic without me, bro.
And Monty be handling it though. So hey, next topic, the quarterback position. I'm assuming that's where you were going, Vashti, earlier. But let's talk about how we feel about the comfortability of old Teddy Bridgewater so far, and where we should go from here. So say draft, i.e. So Vashti, quarterback position. What you think?
I mean, the Panthers need a quarterback.
Hey,
I mean, that it is what it is. Now, how they get that quarterback is still now up in the air. There were a lot of people who wanted to go all in on Deshaun Watson. I don't know what's going on with that situation now, given everything that's going on in his life off of the field. But at the very beginning, right after the season, Matt Rule, David Tepper, and then in his first press conference, Scott Fitterer were very clear with what the Panthers' priority would be during the offseason. Now, when we last talked to them, they kind of backtracked off of that. But I think it's very clear the Panthers' priority right now is shoring up that position. And I'm not mad at it because this is a quarterback-driven league. And you have to have a good guy under center. You have to have a guy who makes plays. You have to have a guy who can make plays on the money down, as Phil Snow calls it, third down situations, game on the line situations. And unfortunately, Teddy Bridgewater was not that guy. So you have to find a guy either through free agency or the draft. Now a lot of Panthers fans want Trey Lance. I think the Panthers are focused on shoring up that position.
And there you go. Sheena?
You're on mute.
Let me unmute you. Go ahead, kiddo.
Sorry, my bad. But I mean, even a blind man can see that the Panthers need a quarterback. And it wasn't that Teddy Bridgewater had an awful year. He had a great year for Teddy Bridgewater because that's along the lines of what he's done. His career high coming into Carolina was 14 touchdowns on the season. Last year, he gave you 15. He had a career high in passing yards. It was over 3,300 yards last year. But that's about as good as it gets. And we've seen that is not good enough. So with the Deshaun Watson, I have never thought that he was coming to Carolina. I'm sorry. And I'm just keeping it a book. I don't ever think he was coming here. Reports and just different sources that I've had that are close to the situation said that Miami was his top, destination that he wanted to go to. Texans didn't want to deal him to anyone in the AFC. So his pick in the NFC is the Niners. Now, since I was told that, we've had 24, 25 women come forth with these allegations. We don't know how that's going to pan out. I do know that they are working on assembling a Zoom press conference in the next week or so, next couple of days. So I have been told that they are gearing up and getting character witnesses as well as masseuses that have personally worked with Deshaun to tell their accounts of their experiences with him. So they're working on their defensive side of this, trying to, just quell everything. But in the meantime, life goes on. So the Panthers are more than likely going to have to address that need for a quarterback in the draft. And from all accounts and purposes, it looks like Trey Lance is that guy. I know a lot of people want Justin Fields, but I just don't see him being there at number 8. And Trey Lance looks like a guy that you can build a franchise around, but of course you're going to have to protect him. Offensive line, like I said, in the trenches, you're going to have to protect him. But he is he has a big arm, huge arm. He can get down the field. I know Panthers have been screaming for the deep ball for the last 3 seasons. So he's definitely a guy that can let it fly and drop bombs on you. From that standpoint, there were a lot of Steve McNair comparisons during his pro day. The Panthers sent all personnel out there to watch him and to get a good look at him. Of course, he did not play this last season. As his team is now in season, they elected to do spring ball, so they're playing right now. And he said that honestly, having that time off, he was able to watch football for the first time on Saturdays and just take the time to work on polishing his game. I think that can be the gift in all of this. And with him missing that season of COVID, his body is rested. You know, he's got time to get stronger, study more, prepare himself for this draft. And I think that he will be a great pick at number 8. But I'm going to throw this out there.
Uh-oh.
What if Pat Surtain is available at 8? Do you go cornerback or do you go quarterback?
Corner. Sorry, I'm done.
I know. I'm just throwing.
Come on, Sheena.
Throwing a little monkey wrench
Come on,
in. I'm
Sheena.
just saying.
Come on, Sheena.
Listen, stranger things have happened. Okay.
Come on, Sheena.
I don't mean to cut in here. I've been saying Patrick Surtain since like 3 months ago. So listen. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I would love it. To be honest, I would love Patrick Surtain.
And not for nothing, it helps Carolina if they're going for a quarterback that the Falcons restructure Matt Ryan, because honestly and truly, I thought Matt was out of there. I thought that Tom Brady was going to be the only returning starting quarterback in the NFC South, and it seems like the Falcons, have other plans or whatnot they're picking for. Oh, there's somebody from my high school. Hey.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. But yeah, I mean, the quarterback is definitely a need. Is going to be addressed. The Panthers have made no secret that they're moving on. I think it could have been handled better. They have not dealt with their quarterback appropriately when moving on, but we're just going to leave that at that. But like that's how I've talked about this a couple times. When they left Buddy off of that graphic that was on the official Panthers Twitter account, they all but said, "Okay, Teddy, thanks, nice to see." Like that was basically their thanks, Teddy Instagram post that they always do with the departing players. I think that I don't see Teddy Bridgewater under center unless someone gets hurt.
Facts.
But again, like I said, it could just throw a monkey wrench in everything, and then they take Surtain. So we'll see.
Stay tuned. I mean, the
and then they're having media in Cleveland, so that's going to be cool. So it can go either way, but they definitely have to address that quarter. I mean, you just can't leave things where they are.
Nah, you can't do that. You can't. Larry, what you think, man?
Well, definitely hate to rain on your parade, Sheena, but my contribution to this segment is going to be short and sweet. Honestly, to me, it doesn't matter if it's Deshaun Watson, if it's Trey Lance, if it's Justin Fields, if it's Zach Wilson. It's not going to matter if you can't make a contribution to the offensive line and protect them.
Absolutely.
So when you talk about that 8th pick, I want to hear names like Penei Sewell. I want to hear names like Rashawn Slater. If it's not names like that, then to me, it don't matter who we got at quarterback. So
I mean, and that's the thing. They simply have shown that that's not a priority. So if that's not a priority, you're going to have somebody that's going to give you something back there that's going to be able to get out of the pocket, look down the field, and be accurate. You're going to need somebody that's able to do that. And Vashti's issue, one of Vashti's issues with Teddy Bridgewater was
so Smooth. Basically, basically, you saying just put Will Greer out here and surround him with a good offensive line? Is this what we saying? Because that's basically what you. Matter.
You didn't say anybody.
As long as you have a good offensive line. So Will Greer just put out the hype video, slide Will Greer in there. He go like Tom Brady to the Panthers because they gonna have a good offensive line. Is that what we saying?
Listen, I'll keep it gangster with you real quick. If you want to do that for a year, fine.
Y'all let's jump them.
Absolutely not.
Let's jump them. I promise you, I'll hold it down. Let's jump them.
Listen to me though.
Look, not for nothing though. I don't understand how Will Greer is still on this roster, but that's my personal opinion.
Smooth says surround Will Greer with a good offensive line, and he gonna ball out.
And Chris McCaffrey. And Christian
That's all
McCaffrey.
I got to say about that.
But,
to be brutally honest with you, I don't care if it's Will Greer, if it's Teddy Bridgewater. The way things are going, we don't plan on winning next year anyway. So You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real about it. Let's go ahead and address the offensive line the right way, so it don't matter who it is. Even if it's the 5-star recruit for next year's draft, when it comes to us addressing that quarterback position, let's lay the foundation so that guy can be successful. Whoever it's going to be.
I get what you're saying, Smooth, but that's just not what the Panthers do. I mean, they don't have luck. They don't have luck with that position group. Gregory Little.
Listen,
that's the thing. The Panthers have. First of all, the Panthers have drafted linemen. They just haven't panned out.
They haven't. I don't know who has the brujeria on that offensive line when it comes to the Panthers, but they just cannot catch a break. Whether they're drafted, whether it's free agent signings, they just cannot catch a break in that position group. That's why I said at this point, the only thing that's sure than the Panthers having a bad offensive line is death and taxes. It's gonna happen. So you're just gonna have to get somebody back there that can do what they need to do with a less than stellar offensive line.
You tell me what Jeff Otah's doing right now. That's
what I'm saying. They have they have drafted offensive linemen, and it has not worked out.
That was over 10 years ago.
I know that was 12, but they also drafted Moton. They drafted you want a first round offensive lineman?
I want a day one blue chip guy to protect whatever quarterback.
But is that you're saying that person would be the guy?
That's what it's
book
about,
it.
It's 2 guys right now that you can draft right now that'll guarantee that. We already tried Sheena's way. You seen Cam Newton? You know who that is? He ran around.
You said my way? How's that my way?
Because we already had a quarterback that was mobile and had to go fend for himself and run all over the place because we couldn't protect his blind side. We got no Super Bowls like that. We gotta go get a
Super Bowls like that, but you got more than these 3 and 4 or 5 win seasons the last couple seasons. But that's why I said.
When I go to the sports bar and talk junk, I can say whatever I want to say because I'm a very knowledgeable guy. When it comes to ring checking,
and that's great.
I gotta be quiet when I'm talking about rings. That's all I care about.
But this is a quarterback. This is a quarterback-driven league. Period. Point blank. Dot. And if you try Will Greer out there, if you try Will Greer out there with the best offensive line that you can buy, he's still gonna be trash. And that it is what it is. I mean,
so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Hold on, Let's
wait, wait, Vince, one more thing. What happened when Pat Mahomes lost his left tackle? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kansas City exposed the whole offensive line
the best in the league. You know what happens when he can't get his blind side protected, right? Gotta go.
They won more, but they at least won the division and got to the Super Bowl. I mean, you're still gonna have some degree of success. What's going on right now? It just ain't gonna work.
I want to win some Super Bowls. That's all I'm saying. Ain't no quarterback that y'all talking about didn't have his blind side protected. That's all I'm saying.
You gotta win the division first.
We did that 4 times in a row, and look, we right back in mediocrity.
Yeah, 4 times in a row, but there were no consecutive winning seasons. The Panthers still don't have consecutive winning seasons yet.
That's true.
You're right. I agree. Let's get a left tackle. We'll have a few winning seasons. I promise you.
Okay. Unless that left tackle throwing the ball, I don't know what you're talking about. That left tackle protecting and passing the ball, I don't understand it.
Listen, this goes 2 ways. You know, you can't win no argument with no woman. And you can't win no argument with no Panthers. We know we're going to do it y'all way, and we're going to keep losing. That's all we're going to do, right?
I'm just saying, I want to see the offensive lineman who's going to protect and throw. Draft him first. Draft him number 1.
I respect
He got a rush too, though, B.
Whatever.
He has a rush too.
Oh, dang. He got all that.
All of that.
Hey, Monty, I know on Twitter, man, you've been hell bent on a couple of quarterbacks. So how do you feel about Teddy right now, and where should we go as far as the quarterback positions go?
Hey man, it's smoking hot right now. I don't know if I should say anything now.
Bro, speak of Pittsburgh.
No. Okay, so here's where I stand with the quarterback position. Teddy Bridgewater. Do I think he's a great guy? Absolutely. Do I think that he has a lot of traits that if we were to bring on a young quarterback, I will want that young quarterback to learn behind? Absolutely. Do I think that I'm gonna put Will Greer out there? It's a heavy on the no for me. It's okay. The quarterback position. I think that everybody so far, I think all of y'all are correct. I think there's one doesn't go without the other. You don't see many teams that win with an elite quarterback with a trash offensive line and vice versa. You don't see a lot of teams with great offensive lines have a trash quarterback. We need both. So am I going to be upset if come draft day we take a quarterback and we wait till day 2 or day 3 to address offensive line? No. Would I be upset if we took offensive linemen and waited till 2022 to address quarterback? No, because we just desperately need. Or back to what Sheena said, if we took a corner, if we took Patrick Surtain at 8, you can't make me be upset about that pick because we desperately need all 3 of those positions. Do I think that we need a quarterback? Without a question, yes. And I will be the first person to say I defended Teddy Bridgewater, with to the end of me last year, and I admit that I was wrong. And do I think that can Teddy Bridgewater be a serviceable quarterback in the right system with the right pieces around him? Absolutely. Are we that team? No, we are not. We have weapons, but we don't. We all agree that the offensive line is arguably besides quarterback, the biggest need that we have on the team. Our defense is as good as I think our defense has the potential to be. We still need another corner. We still need a safety. We don't know what the linebacker core is going to look like, even with Perriman. And we're young, so I think that quarterback is a must draft. But at the same time, I can't be upset if we took offensive line or we took a corner. And I believe that if we did take a offensive tackle, going Lawrence, what Lawrence was suggesting, and we should put the pieces around Teddy, would I be okay with waiting another year for a quarterback? Let me see what the rest of the draft look like, and I can say yes. But again, I've been clear about taking Trey Lance or Justin Fields. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those quarterbacks. I think either one of those is your quarterback for the next 10 years. So again, we're in a fortunate position of where we can go 2 or 3 different positions, and I think it's still the right move.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Got Bush? After using these life-changing products, you're going to want to join a ball sack beauty contest, buddy. I'm looking out for you too because I have an exclusive 20% off discount on behalf of the 4-Man Rush and Manscaped. Use this code 4MRSCAPED20. Okay, that's 4MRSCAPED20, all one line, right? Go to manscaped.com and you get 20% off and free shipping off of your total order. Isn't that? That's really good stuff. It's really good stuff. You gotta check it out, right? That's 4MRSCAPED20. That's the code. Punch that in on your way out when you check out after you get all your goodies. And there you go, man. And enjoy keeping your ball sack in tip-top shape, okay? Manscaped is dedicated to helping you level up your full-body grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0 kit. Okay, so look for that when you go on manscaped.com, okay? So get 20% off and free shipping with the code 4MRSCAPED20 at manscaped.com. It's 2021, folks, and you still got Bush. Change that with Manscaped.
Do I think that you win? Do I think championships are won with mediocre subpar quarterbacks? No, but you can make that same argument with offensive tackles. Tom Brady. I just posted it the other day. Tom Brady has had a offensive line outside of the top 10 3 times in the last decade. That says it all there. As dominant and as elite as Tom Brady is, it's no coincidence that he's had a top 10 offensive line for 7 of the last 10 years. That says it all in itself. So I think you can't go wrong with either of them. So so I don't want to get beat up for saying no, we don't need a quarterback. Or yeah, we do. I think that both of y'all are right. I think Lawrence and the ladies, y'all are right. We could go either way and it'd be or the right move.
We do need a quarterback.
Monty, let me ask you a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you said that you had to admit that you were wrong about Teddy Bridgewater, what was your initial assessment that you felt like was proven wrong as the season went on? I'm just interested in hearing it.
Okay. Well, I think that's a fair and good question. Let me say this: I don't think it's fair to put the 0-8 all on Teddy's feet. I think that's I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
It takes 11. It takes 11 men to win games. It takes 11 men to lose games. So to say that he is the biggest, so to say that he's the biggest reason for us going 0-8, I think that's not fair. So to go off of that, I think that Teddy Bridgewater has proven that he isn't the guy that you can depend when the game's on the line, if that makes sense. Like, sure.
Okay, so you're saying you went into the season thinking he was going to be this game-changing quarterback and not a game manager.
Not so much game-changing quarterback, but but after coming off the 5 games he won in New Orleans with the pieces that he had around him, then add the offensive coordinator that he had in New Orleans, then add a head coach that was all but committed to him being successful. Did I think that Teddy Bridgewater could have come out and won you 7 to 8 games? Absolutely. Because that's what was being told to us prior till Cam Newton being released, or I'm sorry, not prior till, but after Cam Newton being released, was they were all committed with Teddy Bridgewater, and then double down with, we have his offensive coordinator. We got a receiver that played with him in New York. So coming into, maybe not a game changing quarterback. Do I think he would have been a serviceable quarterback? Hell yeah, and I still think that. But do I think?
Oh, you went out. Damn, I was wanting to hear that too. I mean, so the reason I asked that is that people that were let down or disappointed, I was just curious what their expectations were going into it, because it's not like Teddy Bridgewater was a first or second player. Teddy Bridgewater has a pretty nice sample size to show Panthers fans what it was that he had to offer, and then he basically did exactly that statistically. So that's why I wonder when people say that they were wrong or they were disappointed. I was just wondering what the expectation was from the get-go. Like, if you came in expecting him to be anything other than Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, that would be a disappointment, but he literally was who he's been his whole career statistically. That's why I asked. Like, there were no surprises, there were no shockers. He was who he's been. Look at his stat lines. He literally came in and did what he has always done. So I never understand when people say that they were shocked or disappointed or they were wrong. It's like, what were you expecting?
I think they wanted. People wanted Teddy to be good. People wanted Teddy to be good.
So do you think they're speaking in terms of wins as opposed to him individually as a player and what his stats were, or do you think they were more so planning or basing their opinions or their decisions? Do you think they were more so basing that on the win-loss column as opposed to him individually? That's the only reason I ask, because I see it all the time on the timeline, and I mean, look, y'all be about to have a meet me in Temecula moment over Teddy Bridgewater. So I was just wondering where the line was drawn and what you guys were expecting and what he did. That's all I wanted to know. That's it.
Well, Will, you want to take where Sheena was going?
Because y'all listen, because they were ready to thump over Teddy Bridgewater on that timeline, and I'm like, what were y'all expecting? I don't get it.
I mean, I think Teddy's contract kind of told us what the team's plans for the future was. It was a 2-year deal, $30 million. If he played well, they had an option for a 3rd year that he could have earned. But the plan was all along to have him 2 years until they found the permanent guy for the future. So, I mean, they're right on schedule. If you ask me, they're picking 8 in prime position to draft a young quarterback for the future. And I love Trey Lance. I mean, I've been a fan of Trey Lance before, he was even considered a draft prospect, because our guy Vince the blog writer for us, he lives in North Dakota and was following Trey Lance long ago. And but Trey Lance was 20. He can't even go to the bar and get a beer yet. So, I mean, you're going to tell me he's going to come in he played 18 football games. He's going to come in right away and start week 1, going from FCS level competition, only 18 starts, hasn't played but 1 game in 2 years because his season got canceled, and be an NFL starter right away. I mean, he may need some time to sit. So I think with having Teddy Bridgewater at least for 1 more year to be able to
bridge it,
teach Trey Lance and help him develop at his own pace and not have to throw him to the wolves right away, it's a good benefit for the team. Because, I mean, I know everybody's excited about the young rookies coming in, but not all guys hit the ground running right away. Look at Pat Mahomes. He had to sit a whole season in Kansas City before he be able to get to where he was at right now. I mean, Tua sat and rotated with Fitzpatrick his rookie year. Even Justin Herbert's had a couple of games behind Tyrod Taylor. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see them.
It was interesting that you mentioned Pat Mahomes, because on that presser for Trey Lance on his media day, on his pro day, when he met with media, he was asked by Atlanta journalist D'Orlando Ledbetter. He was asked how he felt about coming in and possibly sitting because of that lack of experience that you just mentioned. If he minded coming in and sitting like Patrick Mahomes, they literally used that example, and he said absolutely the hell not. Like, he's coming in from day one to compete. I mean, but that's what you want. I mean, that's what you're supposed to say. Like, that's what you want. You want somebody that's coming in there ready to shake stuff up. But you have a very, very good point. You make a super good point. And that's going, if he is expected to come in with a team that's still rebuilding, they hate using that term. And if you talk to anybody in the Panthers front office or in the locker room, they're going to swear up and down, this ain't no rebuilding. This is a recharge. It's a reset. All of that. They're nixing that word. So if you do have a Trey Lance come in with all of those factors that you just mentioned, in addition to COVID, do you think Panther Nation would be willing to rock with him through a rocky rookie season, or are they going to be ready to throw him to the wolves? Because he's not for nothing. He's a black quarterback, and we know that black quarterbacks have a very short leash in this league.
Especially with rookies. I mean,
they're going to throw him to the wolves because ain't nobody going to be protecting his ass.
So that's the thing. That's what makes it such a slippery slope. You know, those three positions that you mentioned that they need: corner, tackle, and quarterback. And all those extenuating circumstances that surround Trey Lance, if he comes in and he stinks, I'm not going to say stinks it up, but if he can't win these games, are Panthers faithful ready to rock with him through the rough years? That's the only question I'm asking. It's going to be interesting to see.
Point too, because I mean, there's a lot that goes in from going from college to the pros. You know, college in FCS football, Trey Lance was the best athlete on the entire field. If he's dropping back to pass and doesn't like what he sees, he can just take off and outrun everybody and run 80 yards for a touchdown. In the NFL, you got to actually go through progressions, make reads, and perfect the mental aspect of the game. I mean, you expect him to come in and do that day one right away with just one game in 2 years, no training camp. Things like that. Now, if he comes in and wins the job, then great. But I think people need to lower their expectations a little bit and be more open to the possibility of Teddy starting maybe 5 games, 8 games or more next year while Trey Lance continues to sit and develop behind him. And I just think the whole the way they set his contract up, I think that was the plan all along. If Teddy played a little bit better down the stretch, maybe won 8 or 9 games, he might have been given another year. Then they can consider exercising that additional option. But since you're picking in 8 now, you have an opportunity to trade up to maybe 3 or 4. I think that's where they're going to heavy-headed now, is bring in the rookie, let him compete in camp. If he's ready, start him week 1. If not, it's not the worst thing in the world. You can just sit behind Teddy and we can just, let him develop at his own pace. So
I don't know. I think the contract was part of the problem. You don't play a guy who's just serviceable $63 million. You don't pay. Cam Newton literally played for a Chick-fil-A sandwich last year. So you paying Teddy Bridgewater $20 million a year, $21 million a year, and you don't expect him to come out and ball? He's just supposed to be serviceable? That ain't serviceable quarterback money. They could have gone again with Will Grier.
Will Grier should have been on that roster.
They could have gone, honestly, they could have gone full tank. This is the thing. You can't play that middle of the road stuff. They kind of played the middle of the road. And that, like Sheena said, they went recharge instead of rebuild. And I think Panthers fans would have respected a total rebuild, go all the way in for a number 1, 2, or 3 pick. But no, they went at Washington. Oh, and then they also a tough ass football team. And then so now you're at 8, and now you may have to trade up for a quarterback. Like you can't do that middle of the road stuff. And to me, signing Teddy Bridgewater to a $63 million deal does not. I mean, the 3-year part with the 3rd year optional, but paying him $20 million a year, and he's just going to be serviceable. I don't know about that.
y'all were pissed.
Joe Brady.
It goes back to the black quarterback thing y'all
Brady?
talking about. Y'all gave that man one season and y'all already wrote him off.
Did that have something to do with Joe
Y'all
Brady?
were pissed about that win in Washington.
Maybe somebody thought he was the answer, and we haven't given him enough time. We haven't protected him. I'll tell you that much.
Panthers Twitter was pissed about that win in Washington, boy, because that very next week was a blowout, and people were like, "What the hell happened to the winning culture?" You remember we were reading those tweets, B? They're like, "What the hell? Yeah. We're losing. What about the winning culture?" But I do have this last question. I know I've been talking too much, so this is the last question I'm going to ask you guys.
Go ahead.
If they do, like, if you're Teddy Bridgewater and they've done all this during the offseason to all but tell you, like, kick rocks, we don't want you, and then they end up having to start him over at any point in the season, like, what does that say as far as the moves that have been made on social media, behind the scenes, and the press and the media and all of that stuff? If you're Teddy Bridgewater, how do you walk back into that locker room knowing that they don't want you there?
He got 20 million. He got 20 million reasons to walk into that locker room and do whatever he has to do. Sheena, 20 million reasons.
I know that. Outside of the money, though, like, what relationship is that going to be with the coaches? Because we got shaky last season. It got shaky last season in the media they started throwing him under the bus. That's not something that we normally see the Panthers do.
Can I add my 2 cents?
Last year you had David Tepper in the media publicly humiliating Cam Newton, talking about, "I'm not a doctor."
Exactly.
I'm not a doctor. Are you a doctor? I mean, it's just
exactly.
And now they're doing it again with Teddy Bridgewater.
Right.
Like that. I mean,
again with Teddy Bridgewater. Again with Teddy.
Go ahead, Monty. Go ahead, bro.
See, to me, I think that's the biggest issue that I have with it. To me, it's just the contract and how they went about it. Like, before my shit died, like, Rule and Brady, that was their guy. That was the guy that they said, this is the guy that we want to replace Cam with. So regardless how we felt as fans, from the top of the organization, he was saying Teddy is our guy. So, we had nothing but the information that presented us to believe he was going to be the guy. And then here we are 12 months later, and now they're saying, well, nah, dog, you ain't as good as we thought you were. And it was like, well, shit, we knew that. Fans knew that. And I feel like that was the problem. I don't have them signing Teddy was never the issue for me. It was the contract. And I think that's where a lot of fans don't sit well with. Because if they were paying him $7 million, nobody would care. Nobody would care that he was on the team. But because
that's what I was saying.
And we did a Charlotte Hornets type as thing was we kick the guy out and then we pay a guy that's significantly less. Well, let me not say that because Terry Rozier is fucking balling. But Teddy Bridgewater, they come in, you pay Teddy Bridgewater the same money you was gonna pay Cam Newton, and it was like, and now when he shits the bed, you're like, oh well, dude, you're not as good as we thought you were. No, that Matt Rule and Joe Brady have a lot to do with that. So that's why I say I'm not ready just to completely abandon Teddy Bridgewater, because Teddy Bridgewater was put in a crap situation. He didn't ask to be go sought after and then put in the situation he was in Carolina. Matt Rule made that decision. So I don't think it's fair to totally dump on Teddy. But now I will never agree with Will Greer's the answer. Like I said, I'm heavy on the hell no.
All that man need is a good offensive line, man. He said it.
All that man need is some football skills. That's all all that man need is know how to play football. That's all he needs to do.
Trent Dilfer. I'll leave it alone. Trent Dilfer. It happened. Kevin Avery, what you think about the situation,
when they got protection?
Hold on, Larry. What do you think about the situation, Kev?
I've been sitting back here just enjoying it. So I'm about to do. First of all, let me just put in a little perspective. With no off season, brand new team, we realize how important minicamp, them OTAs is, and all that stuff. Team didn't get together till August. Everybody know how important that chemistry is. But for all this talk about Teddy, let me first start off by saying Teddy Bridgewater is not the long-term answer. We never thought that. We're going to support whoever rocks the Carolina jersey on the front. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this on my camera,
nope.
but basically what it is just a stat. It says that when Teddy Bridgewater had a clean pocket in 2020, 73%, 14 touchdown, pass rate, and 105.3. That goes back to what Larry was saying. When we're able to protect this man, that man was putting in work. Our offensive line had the 23rd ranked pass rush win rate. That means they can't hold a block longer than 2.5 seconds every pass play. We was 23rd best at doing that. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're talking about how low his touchdown numbers was. I got a stat for you for that. Panthers wide receivers dropped 11 touchdowns in the end zone last year.
11?
You know what I'm saying? Out of our 2016 drops, 11 were in the end zone. 7 were by DJ Moore. You know, so when we're gonna go ahead and just, I don't have no problem blaming Teddy for when he messed up, but let's blame everybody else who had their part in messing up. It seems like it's on Teddy, that 0-8, but when I throw these other stats out, I get crickets. You know what I'm saying? So what's up when the ball was on the money?
Where are these stats coming from?
Oh, these stats are coming from Carolina.
I gotta look up these DJ
drop the receipts, Kev. Drop the receipts.
It's PFF Carolina Panthers. That's one. Footballoutsiders.com. That's another. That's where I got about the blocking stats. Here also
we
NFL.
Talk about these drops.
NFL.
Yeah, I don't know about the drops.
Yeah. DJ Moore had 11 drops last year. 7 of them were in the end zone. So I mean, Teddy did some messed up, but everybody else played their part too. In the red zone, the catch rate was only 50%. Everybody talking about how much you struggle in the red zone. Catch rate means the ball hits your hands and you're not catching it. So, I mean, again, I know quarterback because he has the ball all the time and he getting the most money. It's the glam position, but if we're gonna tell the story, I'm like, Usher, let's tell it all. You know, that's
what
that's
about
our
that
whole
fourth
point.
quarter though?
You know?
The problem wasn't how Teddy played quarters 1 through 3. The problem was how Teddy played in the fourth quarter and how he played when he had the ball in his hands with the game on the line.
And let's talk about what got the game on the line. Let's talk about what got the game on the line.
That's it.
Bro. Let Kev talk. Go ahead, Kev.
So let's talk about so we can skip the fact that the defense shit the bed the whole game. Because when nobody complained how Teddy was playing, we went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. I ain't hear no complaints then. But they want to use the fact that we gave up another 4-quarter lead, 50 seconds left. Okay, Teddy got the ball, drive 6 yards to get us a field goal. Oh, he missed it. Oh, blame it on Teddy. Come on,
bro. We was blaming Joey Fly.
Yeah, we definitely were.
We was blaming Joey Fly. We were.
My point is, go ahead.
No, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Now, let me say this. I think that the 0-8 thing is like I said, it's unfair because just 2 years ago, when people were saying, "Oh, well, Cam Newton is 0-8 and 0-11 in his last 11 starts," all of us was calling bullshit, right? Every single one of us was saying, you know, that's a bullshit stat. That's not necessarily fair because Cam was hurt, and we had every reason for why we lost those 11 games. So now, why is it because it's a quarterback in there that we don't necessarily want? Oh, well, you lost all 8 of those games. That's not fair. Now, mind you, I do agree with that. Teddy Bridgewater has to be better. It's the bottom line. After he got back from the ankle or knee injury, he played like crap. There's no arguing that. Teddy fans, Teddy people that are anti-Teddy fans all agree he played like shit after he got back from injury. But hey, I looked at an offensive line that looked like crap all year. I looked at a secondary that looked like crap all year. I looked at linebacking core that, bro, I look like I could go out there and play linebacker for the Carolina Panthers right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's not realistic. But I mean, it's always not fair to sit here and say all of those 8 games is at the feet of Teddy. Does Teddy have to be better? Did Teddy play like crap? Absolutely. But did the offensive line play like crap? Oh, absolutely. Did the secondary play like crap? Absolutely.
Right.
And
another thing about them 8 games, Teddy had us a 4-quarter lead with less than 5 minutes to go in for those 8 games. And what happened? That defense that was the second worst third down defense in the history, not the season, in the history of the NFL. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
the defense, first of all, the defense was not expected to be much of anything because of their youth.
Right.
The defense progressively got better. Teddy progressively got worse as the season went along. And you paying Teddy Bridgewater $20 million, and 0-8 on game-winning drives. We're not talking about coming into the fourth quarter with the lead. We're not talking about what you did quarters 1 through 3. We're talking about game on the line. You have the ball in your hand, and we need you to make a play. And Teddy Bridgewater shit the bed 8 times.
Right. With the help of the offensive line, yes.
Thank you. I just want to add one
if it's up to Smooth, the left tackle will be throwing the ball and protecting.
First of all, I'm not just talking about left tackle. If you talk about when we went to the Super Bowl,
I'm talking about right one too.
You good.
My thing is this though.
Go ahead, Larry.
You're talking about the fourth quarter. If you know anything about the trenches, that's when the game is the hardest in the fourth quarter because guys are tired.
Tired, boss.
If you watch those games in the fourth quarter, you got a tired offensive line, and that's when they perform the worst. All those decisions on Teddy, he was under more duress during those fourth quarter situations.
He was under more duress.
It's all a trickle down. Thing, but the game starts in the trenches. We went to the Super Bowl. We had guys making Pro Bowls. We had guys making All Pro. We don't have any of that right now. So I don't care if it's left tackle, left guard, center, right guard. The point is, I need blue chip guys up front. Because it don't matter who the quarterback is if you don't have blue chip guys up front to protect him.
Another thing real quick.
Hold on, Kevin.
My bad, Kevin. I'm not saying go get Will Greer. I'm just saying that it really doesn't matter who we put back there if we can't protect the guy. It don't matter who you go get. You go get Pat Mahomes. He's not going to be the same Pat Mahomes he is at Kansas City. It's not going to happen.
No, that's true.
Better than Teddy Bridgewater.
That's true, Smooth, but at the end of the day, they're simply not going to have a staunch offensive line in Carolina. That's just not what they do. So that's just not what they do. So you're gonna have to find somebody that can do with what they have.
Honestly, I know you guys are talking about Patrick Surtain, but the Panthers, even their best defenses, their weakest point was the cornerback position. Like, even those Chris Jenkins, even those early 2000s years, they had a good defensive line who got pressure on the quarterback and forced the quarterback to make mistakes. And the quarterback to make mistakes, and the cornerbacks were serviceable enough to capitalize off of those. But let's not act like Ricky Manning Jr. was out here like we was really, really like that. Like, they always had serviceable quarterback. Ken Lucas was all right. Then they kind of lucked up into Jano. But that's not
Chris Gamble. I thought you were gonna say Chris Gamble.
Gamble was decent. Gamble was decent.
Yeah,
but it's never been the case where Panthers had locked down on an island type cornerbacks. It's just never has happened. Now, I don't know if that would be a good thing. Maybe that's something that they're going to go to now, but that's just has not been the core of the Carolina Panthers to have those guys on the outside who are going to lock down. They want guys who can get pressure on the quarterback, and then cornerbacks who are good enough to just be able to capitalize off of those mistakes.
Can I make a point off of that? It's not that I don't think the Panthers have never had a lockdown corner. I think just like what, going off of what we've all said, we've just settled for mediocrity. We've been cheap at those positions. We had Josh Norman here. Gettleman rescinded the tag, didn't want to pay Josh Norman. He went on to have a great year. Like, even if it was 1 year in Washington, he went on to have a great year in Washington. We chose to pay Shaq Thompson instead of paying an all-pro corner at James Bradbury.
That was the wrong decision.
Right. And I feel like that we've been snake bitten at 3 positions since the Panthers have been an organization, and that's quarterback, cornerback, and offensive tackle. We can probably name one elite or blue chip position at those positions, and that's it. And that, to me, that's the tale of the Carolina Panthers. If you don't have a quarterback to go compete, you're going to be a mediocre team. If you can't protect your quarterback, you're going to be a mediocre team. If you can't defend quarterbacks from fucking throwing 500 yards on you in the game, you're going to be a mediocre team. And we can all point and say, we've seen all of that. We've seen Julio Jones go for 300 yards on us, and
that thing was nasty.
I was there. I was at that game.
I got PTSD. I still got PTSD from that.
No, we let Locke this year, bro. We let Andrew Locke from the fucking Denver, from the Broncos, look like Peyton Manning this year, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? That's why. See, it's almost like they self-sabotage. And like I said, this goes I mean, we can not even just naming one position group. This franchise has never had consecutive winning seasons. That is an issue.
Yep.
That is a fundamental front office issue. And let's not even talk about all the games that came down to a loss within one possession. Those are 3 different quarterbacks: Kyle Allen, Cam Newton, and then last year Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, at this point, it's a culture thing. They're always one position group off, and then the next season, instead of addressing that position group, they address something else, and then something else happens. There are some fundamental changes that have to happen at the root of this organization, because regardless of the personnel, Ron Rivera and them are gone.
Right.
You know, you have Joe Brady, who is a young offensive mind, a young, brilliant offensive mind. They're still losing these games by one possession or less. The majority of the losses the last 3 seasons. So I think that we have to peel back the layers and see what's really going on beyond what we see on the field on Sundays. There's some fundamental culture issues, and they seem to not know how to win consistently. And you don't really hear a lot of people talk about that.
And one of the things I like to address
everybody talks about the failed game-winning drive. Everyone talks about the failed game-winning drive. Why are we behind all the time going into the fourth quarter to begin with? And that's been the case for the last 3 years. I mean, so against Green Bay, we're down by 8, have the ball with no timeouts. Is that really a game-winning drive? You need to go the length of the field and get a 2-point conversion just to have a shot to tie and go to overtime. So, I mean, really counting that as a game-winning drive opportunity, or the one in Chicago, I think we were down by 8, might have been Chicago or Atlanta, I can't remember. Or when we were against the Raiders going toe-to-toe, Bridgewater throws a 75-yard touchdown to Robbie Anderson. The defense just gives up a touchdown right back. Now we get the ball 4th and 1. We give the ball to a fullback on 4th and 1, and not our highest paid running back in NFL history. We can't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like self-sabotage. I'm like, who is?
There's so many other things that cause this team to be bad.
It's so many things. It's like, what do we have to do to win? I do the opposite of that shit. Like, it's almost like that every single game. That's how it feels. Like when they in Detroit, when I saw them to lose the way they lost when Ron went for 2 instead of 1, I said they're not going to win another game this season. They didn't win any more games that season, and you kind of just get this feeling of dread early in the game where you already know in the second quarter they're going to take another L. No matter how close the game is, you're like, okay, whatever they can do to win this game, they're going to do the complete opposite. So it's a culture thing. I know a lot of people don't talk about it, and we like to talk about players with free agency. There's transactions, but there is no winning culture in Carolina.
Right.
It just has to have a whole complete overhaul. There's no winning culture in Carolina. Like even the Vikings game, Jeremy Chin scored 2 defensive touchdowns in what was it, 10 to 12 seconds? And I was still sitting there looking at myself. I was like, man, do I want to tweet and shake up Panthers Twitter and let them know that they're still gonna lose this game despite what just happened?
No, Sheena, to be honest, the Minnesota game is what made me on Teddy. It was like, dude, how many times, how often or how many times do you have to have the opportunity to win the game and you blow it? I mean, because it's a walk-in touchdown by DJ Moore in the back of the end zone, and if you just throw an accurate pass, bro, it's game over. That's we beat Minnesota, so I totally agree with you. It's like I feel like for 25 years we've done nothing but shoot ourselves in the foot. You can go even the years that we've been good. 2015 being one of them. It's like you go to the pinnacle, you get to the best game, you get to the highest of the mountain, and you shit the bed. And regardless how people feel about, we can go have this conversation for an hour about if it was rigged or not. That is the history of Carolina Panthers. We get all the way to the top of the mountain, and it's like, oh well, I forgot how to play football today, and that's just this disappointing part. And leave us fans to have to pick up the pieces. And so I agree with you. I think you hit it on the head.
Bruh, the reason why we lost that Minnesota game is because we stopped running the football. That's on Joe Brady.
But Tim,
bruh.
But again,
we ran the football on Minnesota and Washington like they had no fucking sense.
Bro, where I hear you.
Stop. Because it's like, okay, that's been working all game. Let's not do that shit no more. It's so crazy to me. Let's just stop. Who wants to win? I mean, what's that about?
I hear y'all, but it's like you can literally go back to 2-3 plays at the Minnesota game and say, dog, if we just have that 1 or 2 plays, that's game. So you can say, oh well, if we would have kept running the ball, we do. Bro, at the end now, I'm gonna agree with the ladies on here. At the end of the day, Bro, Teddy Bridgewater, bro, if you can't make a 10-yard slant at the back of the end zone, bro, you shouldn't be playing, bro. That's how I feel. And
if you or throwing short of the sticks on fourth down.
You know, exactly, right. And then now again, I'm gonna be heavy on the lady side on this. This is the quarterback yo new head coach just went out to go get. Yeah. So it's like so how do you look me in my face and say, oh well, bro, you got to make sure the offensive line and everything is straight when your head coach and offensive coordinator say, you know what, this is the guy that we're gonna get to replace our former MVP. Right. I ain't trying to hear that shit. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Well, I was saying though, they brought him on a team with the expectation of CMC behind him.
Well, and that's fair. That's a fair argument.
Let's not take the most important offensive weapon on our team out of the equation and say, I don't know about that, bruh. Teddy was there to complement CMC, not to lead the team. It's a completely different thing.
I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna go because I gotta go, but y'all putting way too much stock in Christian McCaffrey. The Panthers don't lose. The Panthers don't win with Christian McCaffrey, and the stats say that. Let's not act like Christian McCaffrey. Let's not act like Christian McCaffrey is the end all to be all of this Panthers team, and the record would have been that much different if he plays. They haven't won with him historically. Now maybe that could change this year, but let's not act like he's magically going to turn Teddy Bridgewater into a Pro Bowl or all-pro type quarterback.
So let me get in.
I got to go.
Okay. All right, cool.
That's going to be your mic drop.
I'm out.
Tina, we have talked about this, though. You know it.
I completely agree. Let me ask you this. Why only Panther fans want to put a win-loss record on a running back when nobody else does that? What's the win-loss record for Barry Sanders? What's his win-loss record for integrate? We only do this for Christian McCaffrey when we're talking about the game where we ain't won with him.
The Panthers don't win when he's doing everything. They just don't win.
Right.
What do you mean? How can we put a win-loss record on it? That's how everything is measured in sports. Wins and losses.
Wins and losses.
You can get 1,000.
When you go to the Hall of Fame, you see the win-loss record for running backs.
We're not talking about Hall of Fame. We're talking about the Carolina Panthers and winning. And Christian McCaffrey had 10,000 all-purpose yards, and the Panthers didn't win with him on the field.
Okay,
and these are the facts.
Can I ask this? Because I'm like, I got
everything.
But he don't play defense. Ma.
So honestly, are we making the argument that with Christian McCaffrey on the field, y'all don't think that we win even 3 of those 8 games? Or is that what the argument we're making?
It's a possible. I'm not saying. Let me say this. I'm not saying that Christian McCaffrey is a bad player. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying Christian McCaffrey is a great player. I don't think that I don't see that his insertion into last year's team makes that big of a difference.
Okay,
and historically, when Christian McCaffrey is on the field, he becomes a crutch for the Panthers offense, and he does everything. And the Panthers have not been successful with that strategy. And that's what it is.
In all fairness, this is a new offensive coordinator. First year, we can't necessarily make that correlation really.
But when he did play in those couple of games, they used him. They went right back. They reverted right back to that old stuff that they did the previous year, and they did not win.
Right, okay, because our defense. But we had defense early in the year. Our defense early in the year was not that good. Let's be honest about that too, though. When we were playing the Raiders, when we were playing Tampa Bay, our defense was not that good.
Well, I mean, reason for me asking my question, if you think, if you even question that Christian McCaffrey makes us 2 or 3 games better, my question is for y'all, if that's the case, in year 1 with a new quarterback, new offensive, in the year of COVID, new offensive coordinator, new head coach, new damn near everything, if Christian McCaffrey even gets you 2 or 3 more wins, that puts us at 8-8. So my question is, at 8-8, with all of those things considered, you sitting there telling me that we don't look at this complete season completely different? Yes, we do. We're looking at something. Honestly, at 8-8, we're not even talking about a quarterback at this point, are we?
Yeah.
Are we? No, but I mean, realistically,
long term, you're still talking about
y'all at 8-8. We're talking about Mac Jones right now. At 8-8, we're talking about drafting Mac Jones. So realistically speaking, we're not even talking about a quarterback if Christian McCaffrey comes in and wins us 2 or 3 more games. So I say all that to say, I can't even really hear that Christian McCaffrey ain't valuable. We won just as many games.
But I will say this. Let me say this real quick.
We're not saying he's not valuable. We're saying that when he's there, the Panthers seem to be a one-trick pony as opposed to the variety and the ball distribution. There's no way that Christian McCaffrey should be the most targeted wide receiver on the field. There's no way that should happen several games in a row. It made their offense very predictable. When he was out, it gave the Panthers a chance to see just how much depth they had on the offensive side of the ball. You had 4 1,000-yard performers. You don't have that with Christian McCaffrey on the field because they're not getting those touches. So if they can find a way for Christian to coexist and still actually use the other weapons, we know he's a great player, but he's not the only good player on the field.
He's not.
So if they can find a way for him to coexist with ball distribution, the Panthers would be unstoppable. We're not saying Christian McCaffrey isn't great. He's great. He's great. But there are other good players on this team. Like you said, it's 11 players on the team. You have to win with 11. When there's no doubt in your mind that Christian McCaffrey is getting the ball, that Tampa Bay game comes to mind when they were stopped on the 4th down. They knew Christian McCaffrey was getting the ball.
That's fair.
Well, here's my.
They knew Christian was getting the ball.
Sheena, you went right to my point. That game when Christian McCaffrey was getting the ball and he got stopped on 4th down. Guess why he got stopped on 4th down?
It was a bad play call, too. It was the offensive line, but it was a horrible play call as well.
Don't deflect. This is exactly what happened.
Deflection. You run the play that's called. It was a horrible play call.
Listen.
It was ridiculous. They had just stopped them on that same play in the red zone on that drive. It was a horrible play call. I could have seen that coming from my seat in the press box.
Horrible play call or not. We can go to the Raider game and watch Cleveland Farrell blow up guard, center, and fullback and stop them in the back. That's what I like. We've been making this too complicated. I know you guys don't like what I'm saying, but the fact of the matter is, in every single season we had a winning team, we had a formidable offensive line. It's that simple.
Okay, well, it's gonna be a losing season this season then, because
it damn sure is. That's what the game starts.
I mean, I'm just saying.
It's what it is. I'm not disputing that, but I'm letting you know when we win, the offensive line is not trash, and it's really bad.
I don't think anyone's arguing.
We're not arguing that point. We're not disagreeing with that.
As a matter of fact, we're not disagreeing. If you remember,
we're talking about Christian McCaffrey losing games. All those games.
No, we're not.
Okay.
So
we never said Christian McCaffrey loses games.
Come
on, Smooth.
Y'all said we don't win with him.
Does that mean
we said that the Panthers don't distribute the ball and get the full? They don't extract everything that they can get out of the offensive side of the ball when Christian's on the field because it's just easy to go. That's what we were saying. We're not saying Christian loses games. We're not saying that. We agree. Look, I started this out.
I just know that early on in that season, early on last season, those games we were losing with Christian in the game, it's because that man is not playing. It's because the offensive line is not blocking properly.
But see, when we started this whole podcast or this whole stream today, I told you that I was not thrilled with the free agency move because the Panthers keep getting middle of the pack offensive linemen. They will not address the offensive line. They cannot shore up that unit for nothing in the world. It seems like. I mean, this is going into my 6th season, and their I guess utility in the offensive line department goes back way before I got here, and every year. Unless they're about to draft one.
Unless we're drafting 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. Unless we're doing.
But you drafted, but you had Gregory Little in the 2nd round just 2 years ago. They just have a horrible.
And that was on Hurney. That was on Hurney.
Somebody has I will say this: Marty Hurney. He don't do a lot of stuff right in terms of Carolina Panthers.
That first round right though.
He gets that first round right now. Listen, he knocks it out the park on those first round picks. But at the same time, like they're getting these guys that are, like you said, journeymen. So that was my issue with the free agency. I notated that. It's very frustrating when people, we've signed this person. Here's a notification, and this. I mean, and I went to Florida State, so I'm all about former Noles, but I just don't think that they made any franchise-changing moves along that offensive line, and I just don't see them doing it anytime soon for whatever reason.
I'm a Florida State.
Thanks, y'all. I gotta go.
Go ahead, man. You good.
I ain't mean to shake things up though, but I just
it
had. Yes, I did, and it had to be said.
Shake it.
Y'all over here acting like McCaffrey would have been Teddy Bridgewater's magic elixir.
But can I say this though, real quick though, Tim?
Go ahead, Ken.
Panthers scored 30 points only 3 times last year. Chris McCaffrey played in all 3 of those games. He had 6 touchdowns.
How many did they win?
I'm just saying.
Bye, guys.
Defense wins games. Bye, Vashti.
I'm just saying. Sheena, I'm a diehard Florida State fan too. And if you follow our history, it all started when that offensive line got trashed. Just letting you know.
Listen, Listen. No, Smooth. I literally opened up saying that. Did I not?
Yeah.
I opened up talking about the offensive line. I know those are your guys. I know. But like I said, no matter what, even when the Panthers draft that position, they just have horrible luck. I don't know who has the voodoo doll out when it comes to the Panthers offensive linemen. People are always having to play out of position. They did a great job with franchise tagging Moton. They definitely couldn't afford to lose him, but they just have not had luck being consistent on the offensive line or in the secondary.
We'll have luck.
But here's one thing.
We'll have luck if we do it on day one, Sheena. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
if you look at the history, the RAS score, first round picks at tackle and guard, they tend to pan out. So that's all I'm saying. Give me a day one pick at a position that helps me on the offensive line. That's all I'm asking. Kevin, you got the floor.
But the Panthers are always in a position where they have so many freaking needs going into the draft that it's hard for them to go all in on the offensive line. That's not a sexy pick. That's not a sexy pick. Let's just keep it a band. It's not.
Well, I will say this. I did.
Hold on. Go on, Kevin.
I did some research about the history of the Panthers and their drafts. In 27 drafts, starting from 95 to last year, the Panthers have only spent a first, second, and third round pick on an offensive lineman 8 times.
Jesus.
On defensive backs, corners, cornerbacks, and safeties, in that same time period, we've only selected 7 players in 27 years. So the areas that we're consistently weak at year in and year out is because we're not consistently investing. But we done had all-pro quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight end, defensive line, and linebackers because they consistently invest in those positions. But when it comes to what is winning games, particularly with a passing NFL style now where you need to protect your quarterback and you need cornerbacks that can make plays on the ball, we haven't done that. So I'm just curious to see how this new Rule Federer regime is going to address that. I love how they addressed the defense last year. I just want to see how they're going to do this year. But 9 day 1 or day 2 picks in 27 years on offensive line, not going to cut it.
I mean, the 2 years the Panthers went to the Super Bowl, they had top 5, top 10 offensive lines.
Offensive lines.
Cam had with Ryan Khalil, Andrew Norwell, and Trey Turner. I mean, 2 of those guys were all pros. Trey Turner made multiple Pro Bowls. I mean, Michael Oher was having a good year at left tackle until he had the concussion. I mean, that was probably the best line Cam's ever had. It's no coincidence he had the best season he's ever had with that. So, it's.
You guys see these comments? These comments are hilarious.
It's very simple.
Buddy, they always in the comment section.
It's very simple.
Man, I'm supposed to be cooking honey, lemon, pepper, salmon. Y'all got me over here talking about football.
Girl, you better go cook that fish.
Word.
It's gonna get cooked.
It's gonna get cooked.
But that's all I'm saying.
For damn sure.
Sheena, we could care less about these comments. At the end of the day, we can simplify this. It really just starts in the trenches on both sides of the ball. That determines the success of your football team. We haven't addressed the offensive line properly.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. But I'm just saying, as things stand, and with the Panthers' history and experience with the offensive line, it don't seem like they're going to address that need anytime soon. So in the meantime, you're going to have to find the quarterback that's going to be able to make something shake with what he has.
Now,
that's all I'm saying.
You're right.
That's all I'm
saying.
saying.
Last year was the first time. Last year was the first time in Panthers history that we drafted defense all the way through. I think this year will be the first time that we draft offensive linemen consecutively, round after round after round. If we don't, we're screwed. We're screwed. I mean, that's.
And you need a corner too. I'm sorry, you need a corner. Unless I would prefer they get a veteran corner in free agency. I don't know if that's going to happen. That's what my preference would be. I'm a secondary girl, but I mean I'm a little bit biased. My ex-husband was a corner, so I'm a little bit biased in that regard. Both of my kids play in the secondary. Both of my older boys play in the secondary, so I'm a little bit biased. My nephew plays in the secondary. He's going to be a first rounder one day. Yeah, so AJ Cromartie will be a first rounder one day. So I'm just a little bit partial to that. Plus, I just didn't like seeing them get gashed for 500 and 600 yards, and it was some insane stat over like a 5-game period where they gave up almost a little bit over 1,000 yards in the air, or the Seattle game where the Panthers punted one time. I remember Greg Olsen gave an interview. He was pissed. He said, we didn't punt at all. Ended up, I looked back thinking they did punt one time. It was that home loss to Seattle. They bombs over Baghdad over Cornelder, who was playing out of position. And it just, like I said, it's always a glaring need, and then they will go do everything but that. Or they try to fill a glaring void with like a free agent that's not quite enough. Does that make any sense? I'm trying to not say, I'm trying to be nice about it. I'm trying to be diplomatic about it. Yeah, like what they did with the offense, like what they did with the offensive line. It's like, damn, we really need offensive linemen. Oh, that guy's been hurt 3 years in a row. Bring him here. Like, I just don't understand why they do that. And at first I was like, maybe it's something that I'm not understanding and I need to watch film or dig deeper, but it seems like common sense. And they literally do the opposite of that. I've never understood that. If you look at all the free agent signings on the offensive line, they're all guys that have been dinged up or coming off injury. And I've just never understood why they thought that breathing in the Charlotte air would be some magical elixir to take away the injury bug in these guys. It never happens that way. They end up being on the did not practice list every Wednesday, every injury report. Yeah, at one point it was like, I want to say maybe 2 offensive linemen that weren't on the injury report. 2 that were not on there. Not 2 on there, 2 that were not. So it just seems to be the Achilles heel. Like, I will never forget summer of 2019. I lit a fire and went to my kids' track meet. I was covering the Big Three, and Kemba Walker was there. I was covering the Big Three in Charlotte. Kemba Walker was there, and I was like, oh, is this the last time that we're going to see Kemba in the Spectrum Center? Sorry, I'm sorry, but
JD.
It brought up the conversation with Steven Jackson, saying that the Bobcats or /Hornets just don't treat their stars right. And then I said, well, damn, that being said, and the moves that the Hornets are making, which was just absurd that year. I'm like, with that being said, with the Hornets kind of in the being the dumpster dwellers of the NBA and the Panthers not having consecutive winning seasons, is it time for us to talk about Charlotte like we talk about Atlanta and Cleveland in terms of like having bad luck when it comes to sports, never quite being able to get over the hump? And y'all cussed me out in them comments too. I mean, like they were cussing me out. And I was like, damn, I'm just asking a question. But with that being said, and how we're talking about how the Panthers culture just needs an overhaul, how do y'all feel about that? Like just making the opposite of the obvious moves that they need to make when it comes to filling these position needs on this team.
Will?
Yeah, I mean, something we've been complaining about for years is how come we're always trying to do these projects on offensive line. Oh, he was a first-round pick in 2014.
In 2012, right.
Leg injury, so let's try to revitalize his career. We had to change the narrative about the offensive line. Everybody just wants an elite running back, an elite wide receiver, elite quarterback, elite lockdown corner. When it comes to the offensive line, it's like, oh, that he's big, he's 300 pounds, he moved my refrigerator up 3 flights of stairs. Let's put him at guard.
Right.
I mean, come on, man.
Tell him, Will.
Because it's true. It's funny because it's true, damn it.
You could just put any old body in there, and then we're good. We're playing 7-on-7 or something. So, I mean, I think just the whole narrative about the offensive line needs to change across fan bases and media in general.
Oh, man. Larry, you want to talk on that, man? He might be muted up. Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, well, for me, I don't want to keep regurgitating, but man, it's all about just recognizing what's consistently the issue, and it's been for us is that.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Oh,
I was getting something was wrong. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you good now?
Can you hear me, Kev?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I think Sheena was asking what's the issue while we're what was it, inconsistent with drafting, Sheena? Was that what you're saying?
Yeah, like like he was saying, he would like to see them draft all these offensive linemen, and though that makes sense, they're not going to do that. Instead, they're trying to get the discount guys, like you said earlier, like someone said earlier, that they try to get these guys that shopping at the Family Dollar store when it comes to offensive line. I just don't get it. That's why I was just wondering. I'm like, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's something that I'm not seeing in their scouting report somewhere. But everything I'm reading is that this guy has been injured since the season before last, or he played 2 games this season, or he was put on injured reserve, and then they go and try to revitalize these people in Carolina with no real validation. I just don't get it.
Well, if we choose to address this finally in the draft, this is the draft to do it. I mean, my God, me and Larry, we don't put in like I don't know how many hundreds of hours of film watching. Like, if we're ever going to get this offensive line right, this would be the draft to just invest like at least 3 picks. There's at least, I would say, 6 or 7 left tackles out there that we could plug in and would do a very good job. As far as like guards and centers, I mean, damn, I can think of 15 off the top of my head. It just makes me want this coaching staff, this regime is going to show me where their mind frame at when it comes to this, because Matt Rule at his core, before he moved up the ranks, was an offensive line coach. That's where he got his start. So that's where his bread and butter first began with. So I'm curious to see that now that he took care of the defense a large majority of last year, because remember, we got 3 defensive linemen last year. Can we flip that to the offensive line? I'm talking guys like, even if we don't get Sewell or Slater in the first round, I'm thinking guys like Trey Smith from Tennessee at guard.
Big Brown from Alabama.
Yeah, Ben Cleveland from Georgia. Like, there's some guards out here that can, that we can finally address this middle, because a lot of the Panthers rush is coming from up the middle of the field between center and guard. We've got the chance to really address that finally in this draft. And I just think that with the opportunity that's there, I understand that we can't go heavy offensive line in the draft, but we got 8 picks. Out of them 8 picks, if I don't see at least 3 offensive linemen, I'm going to feel some kind of way. But if there was ever a draft to finally secure an offensive line for the next 8 to 10 years, this would be the draft to do it.
And Kev, I'm just going to piggyback off you, and I'm probably going to head out. I got some things to take care of.
You've been in the car just long smooth. Where are you going?
No, I'm at a family member house, and I didn't have the right sound.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, I thought you were driving. I'm like, dang, where are you driving?
No, I'm not driving. I'm stable. I'm just in the car. But the thing about this particular draft is that even if it's not left tackle, the key word when it comes to the trenches, the offensive line, is there's a lot of versatility. Most of these top picks can play multiple positions. Left tackle, guard, center, all the way across the line. You just got to take advantage of stuff like that. Like, if you go get a guy like Rashawn Slater, it don't matter where you put him at, you'll be better at that position. That's all I'm saying. This is the draft of versatility on the offensive line. That's why, to me, it's imperative that we spend those picks early, because these are guys that are going to help us in multiple positions. I'll give you an example. Somebody got hurt one year. We tried to put our Pro Bowl guard, Trey Turner, at tackle. It didn't work. We have a time right now where we can go get a guy that we can plug and play anywhere on this offensive line. He can replace any of these, what you call them, journeymen. He can replace any of them. So that's all I'm saying is just that today, these guys that we're looking at right now can play multiple positions and do it at a high level. That's why, to me, it's imperative. It's always going to be generational quarterbacks coming around. It's always going to be somebody great that you can go ahead and get. It happens. It's becoming more and more popular. To be honest with you, you got Trevor Lawrence now. Who was it? Who the guy from Arizona? Kyler Murray's come out and had a good career so far. Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. Over the past few years, quarterback play is just really getting better and it's more common. Let's go protect these guys because offensive lines are really, really hard to come by. That's all I had to say. And I'm gonna head out.
Man, somebody said you in the car like Derek Jackson smooth.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be Derek. Listen, I'm Derek Jackson.
That was Cage doing that shit.
Listen, he's been throwing some haymakers in these comments today. Like, I'm looking like, who is this?
Let me go find my imaginary wife and hold her hand real tight while I talk to y'all.
That's my man. Wu-Tang for life.
I appreciate y'all, though. I love y'all, too, man. 4-Man Rush, keep pounding. It was nice meeting you, Sheena. Tell Vash the same thing. It was a pleasure talking to y'all. I'm going to head out, though.
All right, bro.
All right, man.
Man, this has been a great conversation. I didn't expect it to be this fun.
Well, when Quick Blitz pulls up, crazy things happen. I don't know. We can't even hear you, Kevin, because you're muted, but you look like you're talking trash.
No, I was saying no. It definitely because you remember the last time I did a interview with y'all. Yeah, it definitely gets interesting.
Oh, when we had you and Oz. The timeline terrorist.
Right. The one that said he was gonna pull up on a brother, all that good stuff.
That's who I was talking about, and I said they were getting ready to throw hands over Teddy Bridgewater. That's why I was asking. I'm like, look, what was the expectation? Because y'all was ready to throw hands. Wow. And it's so funny. Like I'll see the comments on game day, and I can't retweet them, but they are hilarious. So I have to DM them or save them so that I can go back and laugh at it later. But man, Panthers Twitter is like no other.
And they be coming for you they be like.
Oh, they always coming for me. I'm like, damn. One time I said something like I was going to Chick-fil-A and they were like, oh my God, you're just trying to get attention. I was like, everything I tweet is not about Deshaun Watson. I'm literally on my way to go get chicken. Like I'm really going to get a chicken biscuit.
That's God's chicken anyway. Chick-fil-A. I mean,
I'm like, damn. Man, listen, I will say this though. During the pandemic, I've learned to cook everything that I like in restaurants. So it's really hard for me to go get food unless I'm on the road or something. Like I'd really be in here chefing it up.
Tell it.
It's hilarious.
What's up? Hell yeah, man.
It's hilarious. But yeah, they come for me. I don't know why they come for me like that. I just be minding my business.
Intimidating.
If I have news, I give the news. If I don't, they be like, so what's your news? I'm like, there's fucking news. Freaking news. I'm like, there's nothing to say. There's nothing happening.
You got to check one dude because he swore up and down. You was trying to bait people. I was just like, wow, really?
Right. I'm like, baiting for what? This is baby gonna block us from the food videos.
They bored.
But yeah, man, listen, I get people coming for me all the time. Like my stepdad came for me last weekend over whether or not Dak Prescott signed a franchise tag. He got so pissed he left his own house.
Oh, no,
but I was
oh my.
No, he's a Washington fan.
Oh, really?
But he just didn't think I knew what I was talking about, and I was like, you do know that like this is literally my job. But I get that all the time. I get people come for me all the time. And I'm not even gonna hold you. Sometimes I'll be over here laughing.
Right.
You have to.
It's funny.
Hey. But Sheena, we definitely want to give you some love because March. Yep. Yeah, Sheena, we definitely want to give you some. I hate Vash left so early before we could make this, but because I had brought it up to Tim, March is Women's History Month. So we just want to make sure to let you know that, we've been following you for a long time, admiring you from a distance. So we're definitely honored that you graced us with your presence. Definitely hope you and Vash can join us again later on, maybe post-draft or, something, training camp, because, we're always on the scene. But we definitely want to let you know that you're a trendsetter, you're a trailblazer. We,
Thank you.
That you are greatly appreciated.
I appreciate that. So I will be in Cleveland, looks like. So
we'll be in Vegas next year.
It'll be interesting seeing everybody's reaction to this pick and whether or not they trade up because, like I said earlier, anything can happen.
Trade back even.
Me and Will are going to be in Vegas for 2022 draft.
Twitter reaction if they don't take a quarterback.
Man, they're going to
all right.
I'm not making no prediction. I'm not making any predictions as to who the Panthers are drafting because I do not want to have to put somebody in Temecula.
Yo, if they don't draft a quarterback and Teddy Bridgewater quarterback week 1, my level of petty is going to be epic.
Let him have it, Kev. Let him have it.
Because I've been put on a lynch. I've been told,
They didn't put that Donald Trump wig on you like they did Panthers culture.
Oh shit!
I know you saw them put that. I know you saw them put that wig on his Panther culture logo. I mean, look, Panthers Twitter gets nasty. Okay.
They don't want none of this.
I'm glad that the majority of them like me. Some of them don't, but I'm glad that I at least have the majority because, boy, y'all be coming for people. Teddy will be QB week 1.
They do.
I mean, and he might bash out, but like I said, isn't that awkward though? They put that graphic up and they left him out of the graphic, and then he's just starting quarterback week 1.
What?
I'm just saying. You don't remember that graphic?
Yeah, I remember it.
Oh, okay.
I know. Yeah, because Will's the guy that's behind our Foreman Rush Twitter page. That's the right. The rest of us have to throw the full MR on there. So we'll be dropping that. He be dropping his petty moments too. But hey, I'm ready for it. So if I get any more threats, we know why, because I done got on somebody's nerves.
Man, that threat was that thing was funny. I'm like, over Teddy Bridgewater, y'all want to stomp over Teddy?
Hey, I posted the address and the picture. Pull up, bro. If that's how you feel. Nah, you look like you live in the hood. I'm good. Oh, okay. Lower your voice. Well, someone said, lower your motherfucking voice. You don't talk to me like that.
They said the Teddy Avengers.
Yeah. Best quarterback we ever produced down here from Miami, man. Shout out to Teddy.
Man, listen, y'all, seriously though, I really do like Teddy as a person. And like I said, he came in and he did what he does. He literally was the player that he has always been. Yeah. Nothing more, nothing less.
I mean, for a man that nearly lost his life 4 years ago, hey.
Yeah, I mean, I really like him as a person. I'm rooting for him as a person. He just isn't who the Panthers need. Because like we've been saying this whole time, you're not going to have a staunch offensive line, so you're going to have a dynamic quarterback to kind of try to level the playing field. He's not the person. He's not the person for that. You got to play to your personnel, and that's just not his strong suit.
I'm just tired of us being the only franchise in NFL that don't have back-to-back winning seasons.
My problem with the fan reaction to Teddy is, why are you mad at a game manager for being a game manager?
That's why I asked that question. That's why I asked him. I said, when Monty said when Monty said he was wrong at the end of the season, I'm like, what were you wrong about? What was your expectation? I didn't understand why anybody was super shocked.
Exactly.
I just wasn't.
We in year one. That was year 1 of a rebuild. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, new coaching staff, COVID. I mean, last season was unprecedented, man, in a lot of ways.
But I will say this. I think that everybody went into the season expecting it to be a horrible season. And when they won, like, I want to say 2 to 3 games back-to-back, and they were sitting at 500, it was a false sense of hope. And everybody was like, oh, snap, now they're talking about winning the division. I'm like, wait a minute.
Hold up. Wait.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute now. I think I'm telling you, I think they got a little taste of it. It was like, oh, snap, okay, so we might win maybe 5, 6, 7 games this year. And when they just slid, they were like, oh.
My thing is, I'm just mad at the fans I'm just talking about the fans that wanted us to tank, like the ones that's mad because we won at Washington. Like, how you want us to build a winning culture? How you gonna expect us to build a winning culture, but you want us to lose on purpose? Like, I don't get that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, these athletes are competitive. Like, you can't ask them to go out there and shit the bed and embarrass themselves, because at the end of the day, while that team might have a high draft pick, you have horrible ass film. You got to go for you. You know what I'm saying? Those are your reps that are looking trash when you're trying to find another job when this team releases you or when your contract is up. So I never understand the concept of tanking. That's why what Doug Peterson did was so ridiculous. That was ridiculous. It was like it was a slap in the face to professional sports. You know what I'm saying? So I just never understand the tanking thing. Yeah, in theory, it sounds good to move up in draft position, but these are still people, and these are men that are working, and this is their job. So why would you want to go out here and put out trash film and not be on the team next year? Playing Will Grier against Washington. Well, maybe so bad. See, that knows how I feel about Will Grier. And it's nothing personal. He just was never supposed to make that roster, not even the year that they drafted.
We're supposed to draft Chauncey Gardner. We supposed to draft Gardner Johnson in that draft.
Yes.
But you remember they traded up for him, and people started all that premature. Oh my God, he's going to be challenging Cam for the starting quarter. I'm like, he ain't even the third best quarterback on his team. He should not have been. He should have been the quarterback that was let go that season because who all was in front of him? Taylor Heineke was better than him.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people hate Taylor Heineke now because of his comments, because of his All Lives Matter. I know y'all hate him. Right. People hate him because of that. But at the end of the day, and I kept saying that whole training camp, I was like, Will Greer should get cut, but they're not going to do it because of the semantics of it and how it would look. Right. They didn't like how that would look. You traded up to get him, and he just wasn't the player you thought he was. But after the stuff he did in Florida before he transferred or whatnot, that never gets talked about, but that's a whole other conversation about white quarterbacks versus black quarterbacks. A whole other conversation.
Y'all don't want that smoke. Y'all don't want
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Watson.
Case in point. Right? Y'all don't want it. Y'all don't want
it. Well, just be on the list. I will.
Now, I will. More attention than him.
And look, and we got our 17th game at Houston this year. Keep that in mind, folks. That's going to be good.
And speaking of, though, they're talking about Blood and Guts Part 2. What do you think is going to look like when the Patriots and the Panthers play?
Oh, buddy. Oh, bud. I think
Cam's going to be like that LeBron James when he was in the Miami Heat.
Brian Burns going to have a career high.
That's what I'm saying. I think Cam's going to run into a young deep. But if we draft a corner first round, dude, if we get some quality secondary going along with that front seven that we got, them linebackers going to be flying all over the place. We get a decent secondary with that front seven, Cam's going to have a hard time against us. I'm sorry. He doesn't have the weapons, dude. He just doesn't. He just doesn't.
Well, I don't know. They did get the two. They went and got those two tight ends.
They did.
So it looks like they're trying to put some weapons around him, which is more than what I can say they did in Carolina. They're going to be running a lot of 12 personnel. So it's going to be, and y'all know what happened last time Cam was running 12 personnel.
Yeah. It was Shockey and Olsen, right?
Yeah. Olsen. Yeah, 6 and 10. That's what happened.
Well, he had a good season, though. Don't play. Stop playing.
He won't play for Belichick. I give him that. Our defense is going to be trio, folks. Our defense is going to be something special. Watch out.
I do like the moves that the Panthers made on the defensive side of the ball. I do like that. I will say that. That just, like I said, that offensive line, that shit is a need every season. You can literally copy and paste draft analysis and off season stuff. You can pretty much, you could just copy and paste every year what they're going to need on the offensive line because they just never addressed it. And it sucks that Greg Little panned out the way he did because we finally were like, oh, okay, the Panthers are drafting an offensive lineman early.
Yeah.
Trash.
And it was just like,
that dude's soft as hell, man.
Soft as Charmin.
Word. Good Lord of mercy. But anyway, all right, so we've been on here for almost 2 hours.
I can't believe I talked to y'all for 2 hours, man.
We love you, Sheena. We love you.
We do that to people. You need to go eat something, Sheena.
Eating all day.
Go eat something, man.
I've been eating all day. I did have a really good workout though, so I deserve this salmon I'm about to make.
Yeah.
This late, but
devour that.
But listen, I'm telling you, I know y'all gotta go. But if they throw monkey wrenches into stuff in draft Sertain at number 8, you heard it here first. I'm taking credit.
Hey, let's do this again, Sheena, post-draft. Let's do this again if y'all can.
For sure.
The Wednesday after the draft, since Wednesday's your free day.
It's my free day.
All right. Can we hold you down for that?
Can we put you in?
You got. But well, I know Vax'll will probably be available too, but
bam.
I just have to check it with her, but because we do this quick blitz thing together.
Respect. Sheena, we really appreciate you, and best of luck with everything you do, and
Thank you.
You're a great mind when it comes to the sports and the Panther organization. We appreciate you.
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
All right, Sheena Quick, ladies and gentlemen.
So what do I do? Do I just leave the studio?
Nah, I got you. Yeah. You
okay.
Go ahead and drop your mic before you leave.
Bye, Sheena. Hey! Oh man, that was fun, man. That was fun.
Yo,
Panther fans, man, we really appreciate you guys coming out tonight.
I do our shameless plug.
Enjoying us, right?
Cause they've been mentioning in the comments, but I didn't know if Tim was gonna sneak that in while the ladies were still here.
The Manscaped.
Yeah, cause they've been talking about it in the comments.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, bro, I'm glad. I'm kind of glad we didn't, man. Don't tell them I said that, but I'm kind of glad we didn't because I mean we've been talking straight football for 2 hours, so
right.
I mean, it is what it is. I'll sneak something in the editing, man. I'll slide it in there, just manscaped.com. Hey guys, don't forget 4MR Scaped 20, right? That's the code, all right? Go to manscaped.com. 4MR Scaped 20, right? Put that in. When you check out, when you get your cart all filled up with the goodies from Manscaped, and you check out, you put that code in, you will get 20% off your total, and you will enjoy it. Your balls will thank you.
Yes.
And we will thank you. But more importantly, your balls will thank you. So, yeah, it's getting hot outside. You get that anti-chafing element, man. You get some the Bushmaster, man. Woof.
No, you don't want no marination going on.
It's outstanding. Yeah, JD got it in the feed, y'all. 4MR Scaped 20, right? Get 20% off, free shipping. All right. That's manscaped.com. And we really appreciate y'all, man.
Definitely.
Real talk. That was awesome. And you heard Kevin and Sheena and Vasti. I hope you're listening, and you'll be there too the week after the draft. We're gonna talk. It's gonna be interesting too, but I tell you. Man, so any parting shots, fellas?
Hey man, thanks for joining us tonight, man. It was fun, man. 2 hours. Shit.
Yeah.
Pretty much said everything we needed to say.
In the off season at that, Jack.
Right.
Imagine this came after a playoff game or something, man. We'd be on here all night.
Right. Yeah. And I just want to thank all the friends, all the people that's watching that's not Panther fans. I've seen a lot of them in the chats and the comments. I know I've been seeing a few people hit me up on messengers telling me how they enjoyed it. They done grabbed their popcorn. They thoroughly enjoyed it. So, 4-Man Rush. We are about Panthers, but we appreciate y'all who are not Panther fans that still support us and hold us down. Definitely.
Right. And Chris, thank you for the comment, man. We're trying to get that together. We'll have some swag gear coming out pretty soon. We might even just have a one of those stores where you can just order our stuff directly and it'll come straight to you. But it's coming. Hang in there. You guys that have been dealing with us from the jump, we got you. Don't even worry about it. Swag gear is coming. So hey.
Yeah, shout out to y'all hanging with us for 2 hours. Y'all are crazy.
2 hours. And y'all in there chatting and talking shit and all that good stuff, man. I love it.
Hey man, that's how we do.
Real. It's real. And I guess we'll live stream on Facebook and Twitter more often. Be on the lookout for YouTube. We're gonna drop this with a little production on YouTube tomorrow. And we'll probably just chop it up into little segments as we go on. But we're just gonna post the whole full interview session from tonight, man. This was amazing. I really loved it.
It was epic, bro. I loved it.
It was epic. And this is off season. Y'all wait for the real season to kick off. Woo, Lord Jesus. Anyway, so on behalf of the 4-Man Rush, man, we really appreciate y'all. Hang in there. Keep your spirits up. If you haven't got got your COVID shot, go get that taken care of, man. Quit playing games with your life. It ain't fun. That's not cool. Shout out to Carolina Blitz, Vasti, and Sheena, man, and of course you guys. So on behalf of Kevin, Will, myself, go get that Manscaped and that ball jelly. Well, it's not jelly. It's more like ball deodorant, man. But
and they got ball toner.
Ball toner. Ball deodorant, and then you got the clippers for your pubes as well, man. Real talk.
Here it is, people. Here it is.
Tell them. Yeah, man.
Go get that, man. Help us pay our bills.
Go get that. so we can blow up and give y'all free shit.
Right. Give y'all some. We'll do free giveaway next time.
I mean, you know what? That might be something we need to do. A post-draft giveaway of the whole four-man rush. I mean, the four-man rush Manscaped kit, right? The kit that we got.
Whoever gets the most picks, right? Yeah.
Hey, there we go. There we go. Yeah, be on the lookout for that, folks. We're gonna put that up pretty soon, man. We're gonna come up with something for you guys, a little contest, and give you guys some free stuff. Yeah, right on. All right, so y'all have a great evening. Take care of yourself, pet your dog, wash your cat, and as always, keep pounding. Dig it. Well, that was fun.
But really, I'm just taking time to really let it breathe. So baby, just chill. Yeah. She love it. We out in public and we can just chill with my partners, and we can go back to my crib and just chill under covers and do we call me and you lovers.
The Four-Man Rush is brought to you by the love and respect of and for the Carolina Panthers and Carolina Panther fans everywhere. Keep pounding. The Four-Man Rush is a non-affiliate of the Carolina Panther organization. All thoughts, assessments, and content of this podcast is directly related to the Four-Man Rush exclusively. Thank you.